All right, everyone, there was a very interesting article by NBC News online saying, oh, 200 days in, Trump hasn't united the GOP. Wahahaha, he's such a loser. He's so ineffective. The onus is not on Donald Trump to unite the GOP. The onus isn't on him to unite the government at large. You've got people within the Republican Party who appear to be ignoring what happened in the last election. They appear to be ignoring Trump's continued decent degree of support in a lot of these competitive states. The Republicans that are opposing him, they're like, screw that, it doesn't matter to us. We're just going to stonewall everything. They've argued now for several decades, for instance, that we need comprehensive tax reform. They have the votes right now to pass comprehensive tax reform. They refuse. They won't even talk about the issue. Trump has. He's already put it forth. He put it forth a dozen times during the campaign, very early on, after saying we're not signing the TPP, basically. He's like, okay, onward to tax reform and healthcare reform. And that's the other counterpart. The Republican Party has now tried 4 times in the last few months to overhaul healthcare. The first 2 times, they failed because their ideas were disastrous. They were dumb. Paul Ryan is dumb. Mitch McConnell is dumb. Their bills were so abusive that Trump backed off of them. On Ryan Care, it was so bad. Their first attempt, he said, well, no, I can't support it in its current form. McConnell Care comes along. He's like, oh, you need to be a little more generous. Then Rand Care almost comes along, but then the McConnells, they shaft every suggestion he makes, so that basically disappears. And then with this latest attempt, Trump starts to get impatient, says just ram through a clean repeal and then we'll deal with this situation later. They won't do that either. John McCain and some others stand in his way. How is he supposed to unite the GOP when the GOP is now arguing against things that it argued in favor of for years at a time? That's my question. Well, what the hell is Trump supposed to do? He can't force Congress to vote one way or the other. He doesn't have the consent of really the Democrats, so that means the Republican majority is who he's primarily working with. But there are too many Republicans that won't work with him. They didn't even want to fund the basis of his wall. He finally got that funding. That finally got through. He has the basic funding for exploration to sort of design and lay the groundwork for parts of his Great Wall of Trump. That's a victory, by the way. But it took him months and months to wring that out of Congress and offset it with some spending decreases. That's the other part. The Republicans don't want to decrease spending. They don't want to decrease taxes. I thought those were things you argued in support of a couple years ago. It seems like sanity has abandoned a lot of the people within the Republican Party. And see, this is why I'm not a Republican. Some people during the election, they kept pressuring me, oh, you should just call yourself a Republican. You should join the right party. You know, right as in right wing, right as in correct, I guess. You should be a Republican. No, these evil Democrats, we must stop them. And lo and behold, 6 months later, what have they done? Trump's done things. He refused to sign the TPP, which was in his purview to do. That's good. But what have the congressional Republicans, other than allotting the first very small sum for the wall, what have they done? They've done nothing. Everything that's happened so far in Trump's administration has been executive order and executive privilege driven. Nothing has come from Congress. They have not overhauled healthcare. They have not overhauled the tax system. They have not decreased spending. They have not done a good job of attempting to conduct or rather aid Trump in conducting diplomacy. In fact, they're stonewalling that too. They're standing directly in the way of trying to repair relations with the only major nuclear state that's hostile towards us. It's gotten worse. These same people called out Obama at the time and said, well, we're uncomfortable with the direction this is going, and it seems to us like things might get more dangerous in the world if we keep this up. They had problems with it. The second Trump got into office, he made the same suggestion, said exactly what they had been saying then for 2 years, or at least the Rands, the more sane people in the party had been saying. All of a sudden they say, no, we need more sanctions on them. Don't do any diplomacy. By the way, we're going to waste months and months of time and millions of taxpayer dollars investigating you based on a bunch of lies from the DNC in connection with a state that probably didn't actually influence the election. We're going to allow this special counsel that, by the way, has gone so far. You get a CNN contributor saying that they're going too far now. I would say going too far was when they decided to launch helter-skelter into such an investigation based on no evidence of wrongdoing in the first place. All they have to do is read a couple DNC emails and they'll realize that it's worthless. It's a waste of their time. Go after Flynn for his Turkish ties all you want. That has nothing to do with Russia. The FBI already cleared him. They still keep bringing him up every other day. All people like McCain want to do is waste our time. And that's why I would never join the Republican Party. I don't have a problem with Trump. I like people like Rand or Amash. By the way, I think Rand and Amash, which I frequently applaud for being sane, weren't they two of the only people in all of Congress that voted against the sanctions bill? I think both of them voted against it. Bernie Sanders did. Bernie Sanders voted against the sanctions. Bernie Sanders is more intelligent than 99% of the Republicans in Congress. Doesn't that scare you a little bit? You know, if you call yourself a Republican, you say, oh, I'm a conservative, socialism's evil. Bernie Sanders is smarter than some of these people. You could pick you could pick up a street bum and put them in the House of Representatives. They'd do a better job. Why the hell would I want to be a Republican? I wouldn't be in very good company. I'd basically be limited to saying, hi, Rand. You know, it really sucks being here because you're the only person who's capable of communicating on above a 10th grade level. It'd be a difficult time. Yeah, going to DC, not on my to-do list, not on my bucket list, not on any list. Maybe the shit list. So Trump, how the fuck is he supposed to unite the GOP? They refuse to be united. You have a handful of Republicans with common sense. Then you have a lot that occasionally, they sporadically show, you know, sanity. And then you have some Republicans like John McCain who haven't really been sane in decades. John McCain's never been a sane individual. I don't know what they were feeding him in Vietnam. Whatever it is, it totally, permanently screwed him up. He should be found incompetent to even serve. They should get rid of him as quickly as possible. Say, okay, John, you've served for a good long time. Okay, thank you very much. Here's your golden parachute. We'll give you some of this Chinese slush fund from Hillary Clinton or something. Now, go out to pasture. You deserve it. Spend the last few years of your life just go relax. Maybe go back to Vietnam. They're like kind of capitalistic now. Maybe you'd enjoy it. You can go do drugs, whatever it is that you're up to. That's what they need. You know, onus on Trump. Trump doesn't have to unite the GOP. Trump's not even really a Republican. That's one of the reasons I kind of liked him when he was running in the first place. Like, you've got Rand, who's really a true libertarian, more or less. More of a true libertarian than the Libertarian Party at this point, if you can believe that, on border issues and stuff. You've got Rand, the sane man in the room, and then you've got Trump, who's interesting and ultimately more or less nonpartisan. A lot of what he said during the campaign, and even some of what he's saying now, is really just a clusterfuck smokescreen to confuse his enemies. Which he's doing not without good reason, by the way, because he knows that they're going to try to run him into the ground. He knows that they're going to try to obstruct everything he wants to do, because here's the secret. The McCains and so forth of the Republican Party make a huge amount of money off multinational corporations in foreign states. They don't want an America First platform. They don't want a platform that abandons giving free money and then going off and bombing people in the third world. They don't want that. They don't want a reformed tax code. Hell, small businesses might compete with multinational firms again. Oh, that'd be terrible for their bottom line. Those companies would have less money to give them during campaigns, less kickbacks to give them, less gold-plated Ferraris for them, I suppose. Oh, they would lose money. That's what it's about. Our Congress is being controlled by a bunch of foreign entities. Foreign entities, multinational corporations, and some big banks that hold money over their head and threaten to collapse the economy if they don't come to heel, I guess. That's the real problem. But it's better to have, I guess, that obstruction and have somebody in the White House who has some sanity, as opposed to having... This is why, again, I don't regret my vote for Trump. Despite all the obstruction, the occasional flabbergasting comments that Trump makes, still better than having someone that you know is going to partner with those multinational firms. That you know is going to start proxy wars, that has openly proclaimed a desire to do so. that threatens military response for cyber espionage against the Russians. That was Hillary Clinton. Trump didn't do that. Trump was the anti-war candidate. And I can respect that. I think he's more sane. You can say he's off his rocker. That's funny. I don't see him saying crazy things. Confusing things, things that you take as crazy because you're interpreting them improperly. Because he's good at doing that. He's been doing it for the last 3 decades. He finds it funny. He's yanking your chain. He's getting you to run and chase your own tail, basically. I think at least we're amused. At least politics is interesting to talk about. For a while there, it's like, why bother covering it? Day 200 of Obama does butt-fuck nothing. Republicans strangulate themselves. Democrats say the same thing they said yesterday and will say tomorrow. That was what politics had devolved into in the second term of Obama, especially the last couple of years. He was a lame duck in 2014. Trump so far has been obstructed, but he's managed to get a few things accomplished. Some of the things that he proposes I generally oppose, but I mean, it's better than nothing. But, you know, Trump can't unite the GOP. At this point, he needs to give up trying. What he needs to go do is get nasty with these people and say, okay, to all my fans out there in some of these competitive states that still support me, I'm asking you to primary this Republican and that one and not vote for this one. Kick them out. Even if it has to be a Democrat, I'd rather work with them. Oh, it'd be so legendary. If he decided to go nonpartisan president route, that would scare the Republicans into line. They'd be wanting to work with him pretty quick. Because he has the bully pulpit. He has the big Twitter account. He's capable, the bully Twitter. He's capable of doing such a thing. If he chooses to do so. I think he wants to wait as a last resort to do that. Because he doesn't want to totally piss off the never-Trumpers for fear they might totally abandon rank and actually try to vote to impeach him or something. But it is a last line of defense if we continue to face strangulation. At 200 days in, Trump hasn't united the GOP. You're surprised? He went into the presidency with a substantial number of Republicans who had refused to endorse him or had outright called for people to vote for Hillary Clinton. And you're surprised that you've got all the Glenn Becks and stuff. They think Trump is like the Antichrist or something. Yeah, I think a lot of people think Mueller is the Antichrist at this point. That's about all. Peace out.